It may be true that the world has no need of borders, but would getting rid of them really change anything? The world won't change for the better unless we trust people. Trust is vital in a peaceful world. But that will never happen. I'm still on the battlefield. Right now I'm near a border. I want to see for myself what borders really mean, and what their volition really is. I may not find what I'm looking for, but I still want to try.
What the message that the game is saying that any kind of idea, even good ideas, they can become extreme and they can become devastating and deadly. Just look at what happened with Belka, for example. Belka's economy collapsed, and you had ultra-nationalists that came to power. And the idea of loving your country, while there's nothing wrong with that and putting your country first, it was this raging ultra-nationalism, which had basically caused the Balkan War. And then Belka started making land claims to all these other countries, invaded them, started this horrible war. And because of the extremism of these people that were loyal to the regime, they nuked their own country. Balkan pilots that nuked their own country for their own regime. And at the very start of the game, you are fighting far-right extremists. So that's what the Balkans are. The Balkans are far-right extremists for the majority of the game. But then in the final part of the game, the final chapter of the game, the last 4 missions, you are actually fighting far-left extremists. And they are from a world with no boundaries. And they were basically pilots from all the nations. Osea, Belka, Sapin, and they saw the destruction that the war caused, the nukes, and that devastated them. And a lot of these guys, they're tragic villains. I don't think that they're completely evil, that they wanted, a world that was of peace, of no more war, but the way that they wanted to go about it was wrong, where they wanted to basically nuke the entire world into oblivion to restart again. They believed that these evil governments in Ace Combat were selfish, and they started the war. Sorcerer Squadron said that these borders are going to cause new wars, and they were right. 15 years later, it does. It starts a Circum-Pacific War, which Belka instigated in Ace Combat 5. So what the developers are saying is the developers are basically saying, screw this extremism, this far right and this far left extremism. A lot of these guys are soldiers. They saw the horrible things that went through. Pixie, for example, was a war orphan. His parents were killed by Osea when they invaded Belka. He became a mercenary later in life, and seeing this destruction and this violence over time, it shaped his view, and basically he became an extremist. That's how this stuff happens. So that's what the developers are saying, is that these far left extremists, while they wanted to basically, prevent war, at the end of the day, it's two sides of the same coin, both the far right and the far left. And that's what the developer was saying, is what a world with no boundaries, what they were doing is they were just like Belka. They said that they were against the war, but they started this horrible, conflict that killed how many people, and they wanted to fire the V2 nuke, which had 8 nukes in it. It's the most deadliest missile in the series, and that would have just caused, devastating loss of life. So the solution is not to abolish borders. The solution isn't to abolish governments, but the solution is to get rid of this extremism, because this extremism is basically what causes these wars. That's what they're saying. A lot of these governments are evil, and they did have a point, that these governments, they use their soldiers, they have selfish interests, they invade countries for resources, but at the end of the day, the solution isn't to abolish every single government on the planet, abolish borders. The solution is to stop this extremism from growing into what it ended up growing into, which ended up causing the Balkan War. That's what the developers are trying to say in the moral in the game.